Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grunbaum.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard. Hi, and welcome to episode Austenland 2013.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, Polina. Thank you for asking. I'm a little bit just kind of first day of school nervous right now because Austenland isn't one that I can hide behind. I saw this when I was 8 years old.
Nope, you saw it 3 years ago or less.
Yeah, that's the case. And for those of you unfamiliar, well, you should be watching this movie because we're gonna get into it. Austenland is a romantic comedy about 30-something single Jane Hayes, a seemingly normal young woman with a secret. Okay, I'm gonna be arguing this whole normal thing this whole time.
She doesn't even have a secret.
Yeah, not really. Well, okay, no.
She has an I Love Mr. Darcy tote bag.
But that's just cool. But no, her obsession with Mr. Darcy, as played by Colin Firth in the BBC adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, is ruining her love life. No real man can compare. Okay, so here's the description. She ends up spending her life savings on a trip to England, and it's supposed to be catering to Austen crazy women. Again, I don't care for this. I should have picked a better description, but okay.
Also, they don't talk. She's obsessed with Jane Austen, particularly Pride and Prejudice. The movie is like a side note. It could be lots of things.
This is actually a better description of the book, not the movie.
Okay.
Did you know it was based on a book?
I did know it was based on a book.
Okay.
It made me think, wow, I wish I was reading the book.
Well, I think you should.
I'm going to.
Well, here's my first thought. Polina, please give me your impressions of the movie.
Well, first you should finish that.
Okay, fine. So Jane's fantasy of meeting the perfect Regency-era gentleman suddenly become more real than she ever could have imagined. Okay. That's it.
Well, there we go.
Good job, Anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous.
It says written by Anonymous.
Thank you, Anonymous.
All right, so this was my choice.
Yes, it was.
I would like to know your impressions.
Well, when you sold me this choice, you're like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm just going to do this. Which may be better than the time that I picked a movie out of a hat because I was drunk at the time.
Did we enjoy that episode?
I enjoyed it because I love that movie.
Oh, wait,
I still love that movie.
What movie was that?
You didn't enjoy it. That was My Fair Lady.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
That was drunk out of a hat choice?
That was my drunk out of a hat choice.
Okay, that's fine. And way to sell me out, selling myself out. I'm so sorry, Polina, but this is my choice.
Well,
I
did do it.
I'm fuming right now. Like
when
I say fuming, I mean like I'm warm and embarrassed. So please tell me your impressions of the movie before I run away.
I really had a good. You kind of sold it as like this terrible, embarrassing movie, and I really enjoyed this movie. Like,
no, clearly I did as well. I
didn't. I have to say, rewatching it, I was like, things about the movie drove me crazy, but if I thought about it too much, like it's certainly we're just talking about Get Out, and it's not that kind of movie where you're like, I just want to talk about this forever. It was fun. Like, I think I thought it was going to be so horrible, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Let me ask you a question.
I found I found it perplexing, and I feel like there's a good movie buried in there.
Okay.
Because the premise is fantastic.
Okay, so here is my question then. You said it was going to be terrible. What terrible were you anticipating?
I think I didn't expect... So, I think I didn't expect it to be as broad as it was. So, I thought it would be, very... I didn't think it would actually go into why, the fantasy of living in a Regency... Britain is better than the reality of living in Regency Britain. And I will say that the end that was my biggest problem with it. I think actually if they just kind of cut it off, it would have been fine. But
cut it off where?
Where he doesn't come back. It's just her, and she sees her friend, and she's just getting rid of the stuff. Because now she's ready to live a real life. I felt like that kind of killed it for me, but I didn't think it would sort of be going into like, yeah, the boredom of like sitting there with these like inane people not being able to talk about anything interesting. The like the endless sewing, the all that stuff. Like, and I love costume dramas. So
Well, that's
I
actually
love living in that world. So I thought it wouldn't cover that. So I think in that way it was going to be sort of terrible, but I think it covered that.
okay. Oh yeah, just know them sitting around and humming and Jennifer Coolidge. Oh, shut
Oh
up.
my God, Jennifer Coolidge. I love her so much. It's always the same. It's always like a similar character, but it's always so dead on. Like, it just, like, you want to be, it's just, I can never be sick of her. I can never tire of her. I can never tire of that character she plays.
Wee.
Wee wee.
Are you sure?
Oh, it's so old fashioned.
Well, okay, I'm listening. What is old? Wait, okay, tell me, because I can see why people would just get frustrated by her. I mean, people in the movie were amused by her, but
I think they were frustrated, but that's their whole business. Like, their business
no, I'm
is
talking
taking
like
these
Jane.
people.
Like,
Oh, Jane?
uh-huh. I mean, was she just
Well, the old fashioned thing was Jennifer Coolidge. Like, I actually did love the, like, one thing that kind of got me is that perfect thing of like, you arrive someplace and actually, like, and this is your fantasy, and she's blowing like all of her
money?
because it was just so broad that I was like, oh, it's a farce. Like, I get that, I like that. But the fact that she was blowing her money, then the hardest thing is to be with other fans that you didn't choose. That, like, the worst part of it is actually being with other people who are into that thing just as deeply as you are, but they're not into it in the same way. They're not into the same aspects of it. They're not like...
Well, I also thought that was the point of Jennifer Coolidge's character. She's like, oh, you're going to the Darcy place too?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I read Pride and Prejudice. I memorized the first 3 chapters when I was 11.
Exactly.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Well, that's not the fan. That's the, I have money and
well,
this
that's
sounds
the
neat.
other thing.
Okay,
You have these people who are like pretenders to the throne, and they haven't worked as hard as you have.
Sure.
And they haven't sacrificed as much to do it. And I've definitely like encountered that where I've been that person, or like, did I ever tell you the story? I went to Scotland. Like, both Sean and I are kind of both, interested in Scottish history. Sean, more than me. And we went to the Battle of Culloden, which is like one of the best. Like, it's won a lot of awards, and if you go to Scotland, you should really go to it. But we're like the worst people to go to those places. We will spend 8 hours there because we will read every single plaque, and we'll like do all of the activities.
I don't see how this is a bad thing. Go
It's
ahead.
so good. But this battlefield, they just do such a great job of like making the historical site really come alive because it's very small.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you say this was award-winning?
Yeah, it won a lot of like kind of as like a historical landmark.
Okay.
Like, they've done a lot of awards of making this like historical park really,
okay.
really great.
That I did not process that. This battle, it won so many awards.
The battle itself, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, it was not clear. The battle itself didn't win many awards. Well, it sort of depends. I mean, when you're talking awards, are you talking like totally useless killing? Tons of awards. Like a number of amount of plaid on a single field, like probably a lot of awards. But there's a woman who was on the. We're taking a bus back. We didn't drive there. Most people did, and we're like the only. And there was an American there, and she was. I got super excited that. One of these, they had this they have these headstones of like the different families that were put in when a farmer. Ended up buying the field in the 1800s, but anyway, and he there were all these flowers there. I think Ryan's heard this story, but there was all these flowers there, and I thought, oh, how nice! Like, people are so connected to their family, like they're so connected to their clan. But this woman on the bus was like, did you read the book? And of course, we're sitting there, and Sean, I'm like, well, I'm working my way through like this history of, Scott. Sean's like, well, I read a lot of books on the War of the Rose, and he's like, I too am still working my way through the Penguin history of Scotland, and she's like, no, I mean the book, and we're like, well, I read, and we're like naming all these history books that we read. We're like, God, that was in college.
Are you wait? When she said the book, are you sure she wasn't talking about the Bible?
No, I'm definitely not, because the Battle of Culloden does not feature prominently in the Bible.
Well, have you heard the good news? I don't know. For all interests.
No, she was. Yeah, hopefully not. But that would have been a great interpretation. So it turns out it was Outlander, and this is before that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's like somebody coming to you and asking if you're in Washington, have you read Twilight?
Pretty much.
I'm sad now.
It was, well, the thing is, she was really bummed out that because she thought like we were also, like we each thought that we were true believers, but we were actually each true believers for a completely different belief system.
Right.
And I was so bummed out that she did not want to like discuss the vagaries of like, the Jacobites. But she did, but she wanted to more talk about them in the course of this book, which I've never actually read. But, I don't know. Just didn't seem my kind of thing.
I have a few friends who are into Outlander, so I understand, but I don't read it. So.
But so basically the reason that there were flowers on this grave is not for the reason I thought it was, which is that Scottish people are so connected to which to me was a meaningful emotion. It was because people are really, really into the book Outlander, and that family is featured prominently in it.
Oh, geez.
So when I was watching Austenland, I thought of that story.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was fine. I had some whiskey. I got over it.
Oh my God. Well, see, when I was, the second time, okay, fine. When I watched this for the podcast, I was also thinking, wow, this is cosplay. This is
total cosplay.
This is girly. Yeah. This is girly Austin Con.
Yeah, it's Austin Con.
Well, okay, so like there's Civil War.
But it's like hell. It's hell. Like this is the thing that like actually being in Austenland, which is this is what I was not expecting and I really liked.
Okay.
Is actually being in Austenland.
Okay.
Is hell. Like you're just like what's funny about Jane Austen novels is that they're all they're stuck in these they're forced to work within these ridiculous strictures. Mm-hmm. Much like being in Austenland, like you have this sort of overlord, which is the Jane Seymour character.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Wattlesbrook. Yeah. She's interesting. I like her. She plays a good.
She did great.
Yeah, a nice little question: is she more Catherine de Bourgh or is she more Mrs. Bennet? In your opinion?
I think she's more. I'm gonna go with Mrs. Bennet.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm so not prepared to go this deep into my Austen.
Okay, fine. I am. Just,
no, it's cool. No, I feel I'm. It's okay. I can be found wanting.
Well, have you read the book, Paulina?
I have read the book.
Well, no,
I have to admit, it's been a few years.
No, it's not that. It's just that I think one of the reasons why I was, as I was saying before, fuming, turning bright red, is that I'm tipping my Austen hat. I'm showing my Jane Hayes.
You know what? To me. Mm-hmm. You're talking to a woman who got really upset because someone didn't get really upset, but was bummed out because someone did not share their fascination with this battle. So I kind of feel like, I think being into Austen, who I also really like, mm-hmm. is like, that's a sign of why we're friends to me. Like, so when I say I've been found wanting, I literally am like, I've kind of let her down.
No, okay. So, well, here's my follow-up question then. How much did you identify with Jane Hayes if you are an Austen fan?
I didn't identify with I did not, I mean, she's such a broad character. It's hard to, like, first off, every guy that she dates is, it's the podiatrist problem, right? Like every guy is so ridiculously awful.
Oh, okay.
When boring.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say the podiatrist problem. Just like, no, that guy, those two guys that they show her dating. Mm-hmm. This is what's kind of unfair. In this particular version, okay, the book of course has the opportunity to go into more detail. What I don't like is that they showed two relationships.
Yeah.
Actually, not even relationships. They showed like a kind of her being into the Regency stuff with the teacups, and then a guy said, "Hey, I like your cup," and then she smiles, and that's it. I'm just like, is that supposed to convey her awkwardness of being into this one thing but having a hard time identifying, or reaching out with other guys? And then you show her watching the movie.
But that was in high school.
I
right?
I don't even want to get started with that because the whole fist bump thing.
Okay, what was that about? That makes no sense.
No, it's trying to show they're younger, but if it's meant to be, she's supposed to be in her 30s, but that's supposed to be them like in college.
In high school,
So that was
or
meant to
college. You're right, because she goes in the Jane Austen class.
Yeah, the Austen class. So if they're doing that, but it's meant to be like she's in her 30s, so that was like 15 years before.
Yeah.
We didn't do that then.
I don't think
so I'm just
I
like,
don't
please
remember
don't put her hair in like weird crimpy things. And that's anachronistic to me. I would if I were in Austenland, like in my own thing, it's just like it's like a cell phone in Austin. Period. Why
Was
are you
it a Felicity joke? Because I never watched Felicity.
I didn't watch Felicity.
I
either,
wonder
so I can't
if there
comment.
was like because that was one thing I think I would have, like, if I was that age, I would have been all over Felicity because I saw a few episodes of Felicity and kind of enjoyed them.
Okay.
But like, I'm like, is that a Felicity joke? Like, I wonder if some of this is a Felicity joke.
I'd like to think that would have come up in IMDb trivia if that were the case.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay.
But
so
also,
I'm not missing a Felicity
they didn't
joke.
have it in Felicity then. They get the thing with the bumping and the exploding with the hand. That's
that's
like
weird.
like the last couple years ago. I don't know. Okay, yeah, this is hot talk right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you. So why did you pick this movie?
Why did I pick this movie?
Because this is the first movie that we've watched that is kind of more things you want to watch because that's more current.
Yeah. Okay.
As
fine.
you pointed out,
this is going to be like half therapy with me. So this movie.
That's what this. I see. I love that about this podcast.
Okay. You can love it all you want, but I'm the one who's bearing my soul right now.
Okay.
We'll bear your
Maybe
soul.
should we have a safe word where you then I have to go match it?
No.
Okay, good.
Because I would probably, I don't know, I'd probably forget it and then panic.
And then
run
we'd
off.
freak out. Why is she talking about eggplant again?
Well, because I've been trying to
You've been trying to eat more vegetables.
Well, see,
so
now I'm
that's
thinking
good.
about a safe word. I can't even come up with a good yes.
Well, I'm
right
thinking
now.
of a word that would never come up, like eggplant.
Okay, now I'm going to try to put that back in
I
there.
know. Now you're obsessed with it, aren't you?
Yeah, his head was shaped like an eggplant. Hot. No,
Roasted.
cauliflower. I don't know. Okay, so this movie, I don't know. I'm going to try to say words, and hopefully you're going to help me out with this.
I'm here for you.
This movie gets under my skin, and
Okay,
not in
and
an
why?
annoying way. In that I watch it and it stays with me. I'm thinking about it, and it's not like there's some amazing political commentary. It's some sort of this speaks to my own relationship with this, that, and the other. It has more to do with the fact that there's just her complete immersion in this. I watch something and I'm just like thinking about it and thinking about it, and I like it and I want to read more about it, so I just go online and I can find fan fiction about it and just like, oh yeah, what does happen afterwards? It's interesting, and I want to talk to other people about it. I did the thing when I was younger. I have the parts of this movie that I like to watch, and just like, I want to skip this because I hate discomfort. I just want to go straight to the happily ever after. And so rewatching it again, I'm just like, I don't want to watch the play again. It's so uncomfortable because everyone's terrible. And if I were on stage, I'd be uncomfortable and terrible as well.
But that's the point of the
Of course,
play
that's the
scene,
point.
right?
I don't like conflict. I've
yeah, that's
this is
true.
why
That's true. That's why you like skip ahead.
I don't like conflict. I like not even resolution. I like understandings. I like happily ever after. Ask My Marriage. I hate conflict.
Yeah, no, I do too. That's
Ask
why
My
I like
Marriage.
watching it. Ask My Marriage. Yes. Oh,
Worst.
wow, you guys have really
Worst
mean-
90s sitcom ever.
Ask My Marriage. You have the two people, and then you have their marriage. You have an actor representing the marriage.
Survey says. So I have this weird kind of connection with Jane in that, you know what?
How do you really? Yeah.
How do I relate to it?
Yeah.
You mean how much do I love Colin Firth in Pride and Prejudice?
No. How do you relate to her even beyond? Well, actually, just answer that. How do you relate to Jane? What are the parts that you relate to?
Well, it's kind of hard because I think I took my period of being single really seriously. But of course, when you're a teenager, of course, everything's serious.
Yeah, that's
So
what we're talking about. Like,
you know,
you have
late bloomer. You know, everyone's dating. How come I'm the last one to the party? Type of thing.
Yeah.
But in this movie, she's just a series of bad relationships. But for some reason, I don't know. I can't even get into it all this much. Okay, let me put it to you this way. I feel embarrassed for liking this movie, and I feel like I have to crap on it, even though when I watched it most recently with my husband, he's like, "Oh, that was really, really fun." I'm just like, "Yeah,
That's what
but
Sean said,
yeah, but
too.
honey, this movie is ridiculous. Isn't this movie just absolutely ridiculous?" Like, of course it is. It's a comedy. And I'm just like, "Yeah, but this doesn't." It's like I don't want to allow myself to enjoy the possibilities.
Which is ridiculous. It's a 2-hour. It is a total romp. Like, it is a
Not even
pleasure.
2 hours. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's an hour and 36 minutes of just like, I don't know.
Okay, well, this is what I thought of, and this is going to sound really funny. It's like watching the Daniel Craig James Bond movies and then watching the Pierce Brosnan movies. And then it's just, Ryan would tell me, "Oh, no, those Pierce Brosnan movies are, they're really good." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Have you seen these Daniel Craig ones? It's rooted in reality, and it's just so serious, and it's just amazing. And you watch this crap, and oh my God, Denise Richards is like a nuclear scientist. Did I say nuclear right? Is that right? Nuclear? Okay. She's like a scientist and all this other stuff, and they're riding this pipeline down where there's a giant explosion. I've never seen this movie, by the way, but just how can you take that?
God, neither have I.
How can you take that movie seriously when you've got Daniel Craig and he has to defibrillate himself? And the thing is like they're playing Texas Hold'em, and that's ridiculous because he got a 2-5. But that's ridiculous. But at the same time, the only thing that's ridiculous about this movie is the fact that he would play that hand. At least the ridiculousness there is the fact that he sucks at poker, but he will parkour the shit out of you.
Parkour versus poker.
Well, it's just
good at parkour, bad at poker.
Okay, fine.
That's like the Daniel Craig. That's his like his personal. His Match.com profile. Terrible at poker, very good at parkour.
I think having a real marriage and a real relationship makes me want to crap on this fairy tale stuff.
But what I really like about this movie is it craps.
You say craps or cramps?
It cramps all over. No, it craps all. It craps on the fantasy. Like, that's what's interesting about it. Like,
well, I can do that all by myself. Thank you very much. One of the things about being obsessed with Mr. Darcy, I'm like, does everyone forget that guy is a douchebag?
Well, that's what I really like. Like, 'cause she talks about why would I put up with this guy?
But
in real life.
So much like that, people who go to Austenland forget that women just sat and sewed and read and learned to play the piano. I think that most people forget that there was an actual evolution to the relationship. Yep. And also, this guy is an ass in the beginning. He is pompous. He is, this, that, and the other. And it takes it one step beyond where I have this theory about Darcy. And he is the safe girl bad boy. Because the guy who rides the motorcycle, smokes cigarettes, gets wasted, goes to bars, and he's, oh, the bad boy, that's so awesome, I wouldn't bring him home to my dad, and he's exciting, but, women don't marry the bad boy. I'm throwing out all these cliches. Cliche alert.
Cliche alert.
Because, and that's something that matters to me. But Darcy is the safe bad boy because he's got a stable income. But the thing,
rather high stable income, actually,
$10,000 a year. He's got the stable income. The only thing that's stopping him is the fact that he's just full of himself. And if I can,
he's socially awkward. Is basically the problem.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's one thing to have the guy who's the bad boy who gets into bar fights, and then you turn him into a family man, a respectable family man. Look what I did for him. This guy, he's got it all, but he's missing something. He's socially
missing
awkward,
the love,
and I'm the one who brings him out of his shell. Look what I did.
Yeah.
I'm able to do this. So not only does he come with the stability, he just happens to be socially awkward. But when he's with me, he blossoms.
But it's the mystery, right? Because the thing about the bad boy is the mystery. The mystery is Mr. Darcy. Why is Mr. Darcy break? He breaks because you're right. He's the bad boy because he's actually breaking all the social convention.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
What?
That he's a bad boy because he's breaking the social conventions because he, talks to people beneath him.
Yeah. Well, he not only talks to people beneath him, but he doesn't like
George
play
Wickham's,
along.
Well, George
he doesn't.
Wickham's the bad guy. Or the bad boy.
Yeah.
No, he's not. No, well, never mind. This is getting way too.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them riding motorcycles?
He probably owns. I mean, Darcy has a lot of money. He probably owns a motorcycle. You know, he rides it on the weekends.
Isn't that a horse?
Pretty much it's the equivalent of horse, though everyone rode horse. That's okay.
And this is
all falling
why
apart.
I'm Jane Hayes. I'm not talking about Austenland. I'm talking about Mr. Darcy.
Well, the one thing I really like, I mean, I think there is something they do talk about. What is it about the Regency, because Pride and Prejudice is only one. There's many. Like we're talking about other shows that take place during this time period. We talk about
and books. People can read books too.
Yeah, books. There's books. There's just these. You know, if you like costume dramas, which I do, because I think we might have to stick on this, and I'm gonna throw it out in about 100 years. As maybe we'll go Room with a View.
Okay.
I was thinking about that while I was watching this. I'm like, I might have to subject you to that because I was really into that when I was younger.
Okay. Is
that there is in those. To be able to live it, like a big part of it is that you're living in this world, and it is like she talks about that. It's like it's sumptuous, it's elegant, it's really beautiful, it's really
the manners,
the world,
and
the manner, the manners and the the Mr. Darcy character who is
you don't need to look it up. His name is Henry Nobley.
It's Henry Lovely.
No, it's Nobley. Sorry.
Is Nobley is that he talks about the simplicity of it, the simplicity of romance, and the and a big part of the simplicity is that everyone kind of knew their role, and you just try to figure out what ways can you slightly move the needle to get what you want. What ways can you slightly move the needle to get what you want?
Okay, so how so?
Like there's the stricture is that you're going to marry someone who's appropriate, right?
Okay.
So now you have to find someone who's not only appropriate, but that you're like, oh, I want to, in the little bit of time that I am getting to know you, you have to be, especially if you're a woman, you have to be somewhat practical, right? Unless you have unlimited amounts of money. And then, because you're not going to be able to earn your own.
Yeah.
So you have to make all those kind of calculations, and then there's the social stuff. But then,
actually, in paying attention to them, sitting there doing nothing. If I were in that side of society, I think I would just start plowing, fields or something. I don't think I could handle it. Sorry,
so boring. No, it's like so. I mean, that's one thing that she responds to is like, it's kind of amazing that she's tried to recreate that world in her house.
Yeah.
And she knows a lot about it. She knows that they never, women, like she provides a lot of the historical context in the movie.
Yeah.
The character Jane.
I feel so bad because now I just thought, Jane's a poser. Because she kept putting it down. I know Austen's novels intimately. First of all, ew. Second of all, but you're still trying to smuggle your cell phone in. You're still trying to, do all this other stuff. No. Oh my God. And another reason why I identify with her. No, she wants the ball every night. She doesn't want the day-to-day. She wants...
Who does? It's so friggin' boring.
But I think it's because, again, I'm older now. I have this evolution of... you need to have that boring in order for the amazing moments of a ball to,
Yeah. But, I mean, if you had to, sew all day, first off, your fingers would hurt. But second off, it's just... I mean, I really love historical dramas. I like to go to, Christmas at the Adobes, which is where basically you go to Monterey and they pretend it's 1742.
Okay.
But, and you go to all these different adobes, and they serve you sugar cookies and cider.
Okay,
it's the best.
I mean, replace cider and cookies with French fries. I'm not seeing the problem.
It's good. It's so good. But shout out to Christmas at the Adobes.
Hashtag Christmas at the Adobes.
Hashtag Christmas at the Adobes. It's in Monterey, usually in November. And I do love living in that world, but I also recognize that spending every evening, playing whist is probably incredibly boring. I've never played whist, but it seems very dull.
See,
it sort of seems like Uno, really, which is only fun when you're drunk.
Well, oh, how dare you? I've had fun with Uno.
I've had fun with Uno, sober too. But we tried. Our esteemed producer and I tried to play it one day at lunch and realized that it's not with two people. It's just not good.
I was about to say, how many people were there?
Yeah, it's two. We did all the wrong things.
Well,
anyway,
you played whist once too.
I did get made to play whist once.
What was whist like?
I don't remember. So there's your answer.
Yeah.
Well, you say playing whist every night. I'm just thinking I translated that to modern times. You mean to tell me game night every night? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a not fun game. Yeah, it's like yeah, you're right. I mean, actually, that's not the least boring part.
They didn't have Settlers of Catan back then?
They did not have
Settlers of
Catan. They lived Settlers of Catan. Well, I guess they didn't know, I guess. But yes, somebody lived it.
Okay. You know what? I'm done crapping on this movie.
Instead, I think that's actually what I want to... Yeah, why crap on this movie? I feel like maybe this movie doesn't stand up to scrutiny, and that's the issue, but it's actually a super fun movie, and if you're in... my husband was saying, he's like, I find it a weird movie because he's like, I can't believe this got made with Kerry Russell, who at the time he was like, oh, she was kind of big because she started in The Americans, but actually this would have been filmed before she even started The Americans.
In between. Yeah, because The Americans are...
It started in 2013, and this movie came out in 2013, so I'm going to assume that it got filmed before The Americans.
Well, okay. Well, I'm not going to argue timeline here, but I thought I read trivia that's saying that she was pregnant with something while she filmed this while she was in between filming The Americans or something like that. Don't matter.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know.
Side trivia, by the way, the father of her most recent child is Matthew, from the main actor from The Americans, who played Mr. Darcy in the miniseries Death Comes to Pemberley. Like, damn it, Darcy's everywhere.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
really?
It's on.
I've seen it. I mean, I haven't watched all of it.
Yeah,
I started watching. I keep
that.
thinking I'm going to do it because
I do have this thing where I do take in every Darcy-esque character, and if they're Mr. Darcy, period. Like I did go see in the theater Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but I went with the very distinct notion of I'm like, all right, I saw the trailer. Are they in on the joke? Or are they trying to play this all serious? Like, again, it's James Bond with his defibrillator type of thing. This isn't your grandma's Jane Austen. Well, of course not. They're zombies, but also, is it they're zombies and they're ninjas and it's serious?
Yeah.
Or they're zombies and there's ninjas, but they're in on the joke.
So what is it?
No, they were in on the joke.
Saw it. Yeah.
No, they were in on the joke.
I would assume so. Yeah.
But my theory was, and I went to go test this with my niece, who was also enjoying watching the miniseries with my mom. My theory is any man who plays Darcy will win in that.
In that
he
world,
he will become more attractive because he is Mr. Darcy.
That is true.
Are you? To me, it's
like, you know what? I think this theory has. It's like definitely has legs.
It's like a man in a tuxedo and a man in uniform.
Yep.
He instantly becomes 10 to 20% more attractive.
Pretty much.
You know, if you take him out of the context, it's like, yeah, okay.
Except a baseball uniform. For some reason, slightly less attractive. I don't really know why.
Well, it's that. And if he's in a uniform, okay, 10 to 20%. If he has 10,000 a year.
If he's 10,000 a year, suddenly
10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just seeing like a still of the guy, you know, pretty cool actor. I don't know too much about him, but you know, I'm just like, yep, he's fighting zombies and he's Mr. Darcy. So, damn it, he won. Okay.
I keep wanting my husband's really, really into the Americans, but every time I walk into the living room and I hear their accents, I go crazy, so I have to leave the room.
I'm sorry.
So that's why I never watched it. I'm sure it's excellent, excellent television.
Oh, for the context of that, please, for anyone who...
Oh, sorry, I was born in this... I'm Russian, so it just makes me crazy.
I know, and every time I see somebody trying to figure out their 401k, I can't handle it.
You can't handle it.
In my former life, I was a pension administrator.
Can you help me with my 401k?
You can't deduct that.
Please help me with my 401k, please. God.
I will help you with your 401k, just not on screen.
Also, why is someone helping someone with their 401k? Why is putting someone there's a 401k?
It's good drama, Polina. I lived it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sweetie.
You haven't read my my script, my screenplay? No. Did you get the sides?
So yeah, so you seem to have a complicated relationship with this movie because you once enjoy it very much and yet you're embarrassed by it, and so that's what I'm trying to understand.
Okay. I don't like calling it this, but let's be honest, this is what it is. This is lady porn.
It's total lady porn. That's what's funny about it.
I don't watch porn with other people, Polina.
Oh, that's true. That's true. If we're talking about,
Do you have any idea how uncomfortable it was watching this with my husband?
okay, I get it. I get it. I do get it.
No, you don't.
I do.
I'm weird.
I do, because this is your movie that you like. You work through, the sort of fantasies that like we all have about living in another world that we've all carried around. What?
No, about getting engaged to Mr. Darcy.
Yeah. Well, but like,
I'm just making shit up right now.
How do you feel about this movie? Okay, then in that, if we're here,
safe place, eggplant,
just us. How do you feel? Like, how do you feel about this movie versus Pride and Prejudice? Like, you said, oh,
I get uncomfortable watching that too.
Why? With your
well, first of all,
because you recently watched this.
It's like 5+ hours long. Oh, well, the whole time I was watching Pride and Prejudice with my husband, the whole time I was just like, well, this is supposed to be, award-winning, and well, not supposed to be. It won some damn awards. It's beloved. It's classic, a 1995 classic. I love that. No, it's well spoken. People always judge the story of Pride and Prejudice to the miniseries, and then ultimately the miniseries to the book and stuff like that. But people have such love and reverence for the miniseries. So sitting down with my husband to watch that, I was just mildly uncomfortable because I was talking about it all the time, but the miniseries would speak for itself. Mm-hmm. Watching Austenland with my husband, the movie was not going to speak for itself. The movie has very few merits in the whole Pride and Prejudice. Tell me what you think of this story.
It doesn't stand on its own. You need a lot of background.
Austenland doesn't have a story. It does have a story, but it's not this complex thing with these very enriched characters and interesting circumstances involving, a woman's place there. Instead, it's just a romp. And I can't take myself seriously when it's a romp. But he also knows that I watch this more than once. If I'm in the mood to watch something where I just get to, giggle over Mr. Nobley. And I feel so bad, though, because he's...
Do you feel like you're watching Austenland for the wrong reasons?
What's the right reason?
The farce.
I am. That's just...
You're like... Is that why?
Yes.
Is that what it is? You feel like you're watching for the wrong reasons because you're not watching it for the farce.
I'm not
you're
watching it
for the romance.
Yeah. And it doesn't...
Oh, and that's what you feel embarrassed about.
Yes.
You know what? You're allowed to watch this movie for whatever reason you want. Because frankly, people who made this movie, can you imagine how happy this would make them?
That I'm so embarrassed about watching it?
No, that you're like, you've enjoyed it.
Okay.
I mean, people do make movies, I assume, to like be good. But I know what you mean. I feel kind of embarrassed that I enjoy it. Like, I have to say, I feel a little like having to talk about this movie, I'm like, especially after I read some of the reviews, I was like, I don't disagree with a single one of these reviews.
Okay.
I just don't. But when I was watching it, especially the first time, I just really enjoyed myself until the end.
Okay.
Like, it was fun. It was kind of all over the place, and I felt like there would have been... See, so maybe it comes down to this. So in a perfect world, for me, this movie would have been much more of a kind of a biting commentary of what it's like to truly live in a world that you have been fantasizing about.
Okay.
And all, like, the end, the romance would have been taken out. Do you feel like for you it's the opposite? You wish that there was less of that kind of, like, this is such a, like, the scenario, like, because even the way Austenland was constructed is so weirdly accurate, but to what it probably would have been like. But including the, like, gold and platinum and copper packages. Because that's part of the joke, is that basically she's given her life savings to this whole thing. Or like...
Yeah, she emptied her bank account and decided to go and do this against the better judgment of, oh, hey, sorry, Darcy again. Yeah. Sorry, Darcy again. Against my better judgment. Go ahead.
Damn it. See? It's
Every time I quote Mr. Darcy, take a shot. 10,000 a year. Actually, I don't think he ever says that.
This is so basically we're thinking our podcast is just much better with alcohol.
I thought that was a given.
Yeah.
But not me. You drink.
That's true. I'm the one who has to drink during every episode.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much how I get through most things in life. But I feel like it's just really it's good for that. It really does. Like sorry, let me go back. So she said there's a major plot point in which she spends all this money that she thinks is a ton of money, and then she finds out that actually she's only been able to afford the copper package, which basically is that
First time I saw this movie, I thought they said the popper package. I had to turn on the subtitles to figure out what the hell she said. Copper package. Okay.
Copper package.
Sorry, go ahead.
And so basically she gets like the worst clothes. She doesn't get to sit in the carriage. She has to sit in like the little like jump. I don't even know what it's called, but in the back. She has to sit in the back.
Yeah.
With her trunks. And
for the record, her crap room, really nice.
Really nice.
Really nice.
I sort of thought that too. It was in the servants' quarters.
But isn't that part of the commentary, though, that even though in Austen's stories, these poor destitute girls who are actually like middle class, but they don't get to marry the elite, they get looked down upon. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but so basically, because she gets introduced, and her name, instead of being Miss Charming, which is a little weird, but is Miss Erstwhile. Yeah. Like, she even doesn't get a good name.
I like that. And also an orphan of no fortune.
Yes.
Aww.
Yeah.
And that's what would happen. They crap on you. They look down on you. Well, that was
the thing. So it was actually a very accurate experience. I just thought that was kind of the whole funny thing of it. And then, and I loved that other part of it too. That like if you actually lived in that world, you'd be forced to deal. Like you wouldn't. It wouldn't necessarily.
Well, you don't get your choice in who you get to marry in this time. Yeah. I assume. I don't know. Austen didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the same kind of choice. You weren't able to like hang out until like the right guy came along. You sort of had to.
Yeah.
And if you had to marry in order, and I may be reaching the edges of my Austen knowledge, which is really weird because I kind of thought I am the kind of girl who like had teacups in college.
Oh, like literally, or
like I had nice teacups.
Oh well, was that an Austen thing, or was that just they were nice?
That was a like I like costume dramas thing.
Okay, all right. Well, what's funny is that in high school I hated reading Pride and Prejudice. I remember writing my paper, comparing it to Sweet Valley High novels, and because I didn't get it. I didn't realize.
Well, maybe you did, because they were a lot like Sweet Valley High novels. Well, yeah,
but I was missing the point entirely. Like, oh, of course, this guy has to come on and rescue her. Well, that was shocking. What a surprise. A man to get anywhere in this world. Angry feminist Diana, don't listen to her anymore.
Well, I mean, angry feminist, it's just you're reading something in from a different time. That's that.
Now I'm timid.
It makes sense that you would be angry feminist about it. Like, that makes sense.
Well, I'm timid feminist Diana now, so
whatever. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Too busy, like, doing other things, and as well as, I don't crush patriarchies. It's
I sort of, I kind of, like, try to sort of like keep them from popping up more than crushing them.
Okay, so here's my question for you, and this is very important because this speaks to my insistent desire to be able to see what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. Did you see the whole thing with Martin coming?
No. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot.
Oh, thank God. I felt like such a moron because the whole idea
I didn't get it at all.
And I was actually considering the whole thing with it was just like, oh, what she's going to find is that it's not about Mr. Darcy. It's about finding your happiness, even if it is with the gardener.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. And then it turns out the gardener is just kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Guys are assholes. Except this.
Well, it turns out he's an actor. And it was funny because rewatching it, I started watching it with that lens, and it actually didn't quite make sense.
Which version?
I mean, watching it with the lens of like, now I know Martin.
Oh, Martin, sure.
Yeah, because so basically Academy
Award winning Martin.
I really like Flight of the Conchords.
That's probably a little bit weird for you.
Yeah.
So, and also, as someone who enjoys Flight of the Conchords, would you turn your attention to him anyways? Or, you know,
as an actor?
no,
Or as
no.
a
If you're in
romantic
this
lead?
world, yeah, and so it's kind of difficult because you're looking at through the Flight of the
Accents
Conchords
and
lens.
floppy hair. I mean, I'm sorry. No, of course I would. Totally. And like horseback riding,
Yeah.
floppy hair.
Okay.
Though I have to say, what would turn me off is his love of like those
Easy listening.
easy listening. That was actually the hardest thing to get behind for me.
Well, the thing is, he was acting, so did he really like
who
easy
knows?
listening? Yeah. If you read the book, you might know.
I'm gonna read the book.
You should read the
I
book.
think actually I would enjoy. I have a feeling.
I think you will.
enjoy
It's
the book
more
a lot
deep.
more.
Well, if I may,
Yes.
as it turns out, so the whole idea is Henry Nobley. It actually is his name. He's brought in by his aunt because there was an emergency, and he was just supposed to be this little pawn in this whole thing while the actual actors, do their thing. In the book itself, he is an actor, and he has been at Austenland for this whole time, and that's not really a secret. So because they are who they are, he's no, they're there. It's more immersive. It's more it's serious.
Yeah.
there. It's freaking real there.
Oh, I totally want to read this book now.
Mrs. Waddlesburg is a lot harsher because the reason Jane's there is that I think her aunt understands her obsession with Austen and decides to send her there. In her will, it's just like, I've paid for this package for you. But this is supposed to be like the elite of the elite type thing. So it's there, but it's just like, oh, these people are rich and we're going to exclude you. She's just like, no, I know why you're here. And they like research their financial backgrounds and stuff like that. So even though we know you're not going to be here, you're not going to recommend any of our future clients here, we're still going to treat you with respect, which, yeah, they are and no, they're not. So it's more intense.
Okay.
So
I think
if I
I
were-
really enjoyed that. I think I might have to.
So any fans of the book, I can see why they wouldn't be a big fan of the movie, because it really doesn't push the fact that she's the whole idea is that she's so fixated on Darcy, and she has all these different relationships, and none of them compare to him, and that's how she's sabotaging herself, as opposed to this where she's just like, oh, I really like Darcy, and it's distracting her from actually having a real relationship.
Yeah.
Well, here it's just like no one can compare because she's looking for perfect.
But also, like, she's dating this terrible guy. Like,
Yeah.
Like that guy
That smacked her ass with a ruler.
and like made fun of her stuff, and like, I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, why? Like that's I think I feel like the premise is there, but as a movie, which is why it's kind of hard to analyze, because like when you're watching it, it's just kind of fun. It's fun, especially if you know that world, like if you know a lot about it, and the whole like kind of thing about being obsessed with a time that doesn't exist. You're not actually obsessed with that time.
And they had to convey in 4 minutes her horrific love history.
Yeah,
This
because they
guy's-
bring it up later.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So it's nice to know that I'm not the only one who fell for Martin as well. That's helpful.
Okay. So you too fell for Martin.
I fell. When I say fell for Martin, I mean I fell for the fact that I felt the script fooled me, and I fell for it.
Yeah, I totally fell for it.
I fell for it, and I thought that, damn it, my husband was able to catch on, and I forgot, and he told me I gave him the whole synopsis like months ago, and he remembered. So I'm wondering if he would have fell for it, or if it does even matter.
No, I think it would be hard to watch if you didn't know, because I found it harder to watch the second time.
Yeah,
Because then it just wasn't. I wasn't.
you're looking for things.
It's a rompy thing. I'm looking for things, and it's kind of a romp. Like you kind of. I mean, like for example, it doesn't really make sense that the only piece of music that she would know is that. Like that's just like as a character, like because
We aren't going to sing it because we don't have the rights.
no. But it's
Is it warm in here?
it's a pops. Yes, it is warm in here, and I'm just gonna take off my cardigan.
Okay.
But maybe I'll take off more. Like that's the clue you're gonna get.
Too far. All right, let's go.
So she knows this like slightless kind of
She managed.
dirty pop song, and that doesn't make sense. Like if she knows how to play anything, it would be chopsticks, or so I think she was. So either I felt
She knows how to play more than she lets on.
Yeah, or just like, I mean, that just doesn't go with her personality that she would learn only that song.
I think it's interesting that she was officially fed up at that point.
I think that's kind of where I had to go, but it didn't quite make sense with all the other stuff that was happening.
No, I think it was written, but not in the whole idea of the. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I take that back. It is in the book, not the song, but the whole interaction is in the book where they make her play something and she plays something a little bit,
like inappropriate that she knows would be shocking, but would be really funny.
Yeah.
And I will say that during the like credits, they have this really great spoof music video where they all do that song.
And
it's great. It's really, really good. It's super satisfying.
I love that you love that. And
only
you watch it
if
to the
you've
length.
seen
I was
it.
again. I was embarrassed when it came on. I'm just like, honey, it's not over yet. Hang on.
It's really good. That part I'm really, really into.
I don't know. I guess
it was satisfying, especially after you've seen the movie, because you know all the characters and.
I feel so bad. We barely talked. We went so far into my psyche. We didn't talk about Captain East and
oh my god, we haven't even talked about Captain East.
Miss Charming. Oh, you know what? My apologies
Jennifer Connelly.
Jennifer Coolidge.
I mean Conley. Jesus, I'm sorry.
Jennifer Connelly.
Coolidge. Yeah, this is totally
that'd be really
different. That would be a very different movie.
I know. Just like Jennifer Coolidge, and it's I don't even. Okay, so all right. Now down to business here.
Let's get down to business.
Basic opinions. Yes, this is a piece of fluff, and I'm not going to take it seriously. This is Pierce Brosnan level James Bond, where it's just like, please ignore the fact that they're skiing down something that's on fire.
But isn't that the fun of James Bond?
I don't know.
The fun of James Bond is that it's a fantasy. It's completely ridiculous.
And I suppose it's difficult to handle it after you've seen Daniel Craig beat a guy. No. Have his have him. What you remember that scene where he's getting beaten while naked? And,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. You can't take Pierce Brosnan seriously after you watch after you watch Daniel Craig get tortured.
I feel like it's hard. Pierce Brosnan was my generation of Bond, and it took me a long time. Too. Yeah, and it took me a long time to realize he was the worst Bond, or one of the worst.
That's an entirely different podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get into that. Anyway,
please.
He wasn't the worst.
Please put all of your comments to hashtag.
Sorry. Yeah.
What was it? Hashtag Monterey Adobe.
Yeah. Yes, please. Okay, I am exaggerating. It was not the worst one, but my complicated relationship with James Bond will be covered in another podcast, and it's complicated. And I have a lot to say.
So when we do the movie It's Complicated, we'll talk about James Bond?
Like the whole time.
Okay, good. All right.
Which will save me having to watch It's Complicated.
All right, so I was lying in the beginning, but okay, now down to business.
Yes, let's get down to business.
When did they fall in love?
So we're talking about her and Nobley.
Yeah.
Mr. Nobley.
Mr. Nobley.
I think it was when they started working on the play together.
Okay.
But it's funny, I watched this movie and didn't even try to track that, which I usually always try to track.
Well, I tried to rewatch it, bits and pieces. I'm like, I think I could figure out the scenes. And I think that's part of the problem here is that I was looking for the scenes before it happened. And after really thinking about it, I'm going to have to go with a while you were sleeping moment. They're not there yet. They are still...
I don't think they're
No, they're not there yet. It is the grand romantic gesture, which is kind of amazing. But if you line it up with Pride and Prejudice, this is the part where he handed her a letter. Him coming to hand her over the book, he just handed her over a letter. It's not there yet. He is mistaken. Oh my God, turns out this Austenland's a little bit more into it than I realized. Him coming by with her book, it's a gesture of sorts. It is he's opening himself up to her. He thinks he's in love with her. But it turns out he's incorrect, and she's there to point out that he's incorrect. You don't know me, So my thought is that it happens in between the end of the movie and before they go back to Austenland in the final things. They're there when they're traveling together. They're there.
Yes, I definitely think when they go back to Austenland, it's like, oh my God, this is where we met. And there's definitely that joy and pleasure they take in each other's company.
Sure.
But I don't know. I have a feeling it's kind of complicated by the fact that she knows she's supposed to fall in love with him.
technically in the grand scheme of what
Yeah.
she's out to accomplish. Actually, that's the other thing that makes little sense. I don't understand why she has to go there. Was she going with the intention to get over it, or was she going with the intention to find something?
No, she was. I think she was going with the intention to find something. I don't think she was going. It's her friend wanted her to get over it.
Okay.
I think that she was confused because she's like, I want to fall in love with this person, but actually, he is that unpleasant. Like, she doesn't get, she's like, I should be in love with you, but only now that I'm getting to know you as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
That I have fun with you. Whereas before, you are kind of a pill, even though you're very attractive. Because remember, she says, "Oh, you're playing your part really well.
Mm-hmm.
You're every girl's fantasy."
The curmudgeon who's all like, angry and
But he's mysterious. Because she says, "I'm trying to figure you out," and that's the thing with the bad boys. They're mysterious, right? They don't come from your culture, or they're not your culture, but they don't come from your
understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they're outside of the things that you're familiar with. So you have to figure them out. They have mystery, and that's what's great. And because remember, she keeps trying to figure him out.
So this is off-screen love, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a future?
I think that they have a better chance of people. Well, again, this is. I love I keep comparing this movie to, it's so ridiculous. In my head, it's like, this movie's like Face Off. This movie is like Speed. Why am I not just giving into the ridiculousness of this?
Yeah, you should.
I have to take this seriously, okay? Stop laughing at it. This is serious.
But it's not serious. It's a comedy.
But they take their faces off. How am I supposed to enjoy this and take myself seriously? So, yes, this is Girl Face Off. So
this movie, Austenland, Girl Face Off.
Okay, so what was my point? Trying to take it seriously. Do they have a future together? So in the movie Speed, they start, they come together after this ridiculous set of circumstances. This is them coming together after a ridiculous set of circumstances. Like, all right, well, we managed to find these little things about it, these tiny glimpses of one another, and this is what we're latching on to. I think that because they are romantic at heart, I think that they're going to take the opportunity to get to know each other a lot better. Now that the farce is over, I think they have a future.
Well, he's a history professor.
Yeah, no, just the tiny glimpses of them. She's actually she's basic job, but she's also an artist, because she's scribbling in her book, and drawing the way she is. He's a history professor. I think there's going to be enough there. I think their shared love of that is going to be a good basis, but they probably have a similar temperament. Yeah. That they're going to find a good place together.
And they definitely, like, their senses of humor are very similar, which, I think is, as we've discussed many times, is like 90% of it. Mm-hmm. I also think that they are, but like, she's going to have to move there because he's a history professor. Like, the chances of getting tenure elsewhere are difficult, which probably isn't a bad thing in her case, because she's loved this world.
Oh, the circumstances are difficult. So,
but I don't know if here's the thing. Wait, how would that work? Because they're not married.
Well, Polina, why wouldn't she move up there? She loves that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Although again, she does have friends and ties, and
she has one friend
that we are aware of.
Yeah.
But she was also to say, like, I know you said I shouldn't do this, but I'm doing this anyways. I'm going.
But she doesn't have a great job.
No.
She's got a Tercel.
I'd move in with him.
I would too. I don't know. Like, I like Britain. I would move there.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay.
Whenever I've been there. Plus, I have friends there, so that's different.
So I think they have a chance, but there is a kind of...
Hi, Sandy.
Yeah. Well, you want to know what I just realized, and it really upset me? So, the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice? Yes. That scene where Darcy and...
I don't even know if I've seen the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice.
Really? Well, this isn't going to work then, where they come into the ballroom and you just see sour-faced Mr. Darcy staring at everybody dancing. Yeah. Looking, like, disapproving. Yeah. That's me looking at myself watching this movie.
You have to... You know what? You need to embrace your inner Jane and not...
My Jane Austen or my Jane Bennett?
Your Jane Hayes.
My inner Jane Hayes.
You need to embrace your inner Jane Hayes.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to be Jane Bennett, where I just think everyone's good-hearted and everything will work out just fine.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think you need to embrace your inner Jane.
Hey, she was
Jane
ashamed
Bennett.
too, you know.
I loved. It's a great character, and you know what?
Mm-hmm. I think I need to make more money. Is what I need to do if I'm selling my trousseau.
That's the set. Yeah. So it's like she's got one friend, and not that that's not nothing, but you know, there is Facebook. There is Skype, like there is WhatsApp. There's like ways to stay in touch with these people.
And she's got new friends. She's got Elizabeth Charming, who bought the place.
Who bought the place and turned it into like kind of what people really want, which is a confection.
Uh-huh.
So,
but at least then they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, and they're So I think
they have a chance.
I think they have a chance. They have a similar sense of humor. They do have similar values, and I think for her it's an adventure. And I think he seems to bring out like a lot of her. He like the kind of sense of humor and charm that she has. They kind of. But there's also something incredibly hard to swallow about someone who looks like Carrie Russell and acts like Jane Hayes, who's, I mean, at first, like, it's funny because you see her in the like her American world, right, before she goes in here. And then you see her in Britain, she's like extremely funny and extremely charming and not at all like mousy, and they kind of try to sell her as mousy.
So you mean to tell me that Hollywood has this pattern of hiring incredibly attractive women to play some sort of defective something?
Oh my God, it never occurred to me.
Oh.
You're blowing my mind.
Well, in the Keira Knightley version, Keira Knightley's the less attractive sister.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
It's hard. I know. I think now I feel like maybe I have seen it, but I will say, I think I've said this before and I'll say it again. The best thing I've realized that short Pride and Prejudices are kind of BS. That the most fun part is the wit and
it's the slow burn
and like the social commentary is the stuff I love. Like it's the kind of I love like social commentary. And I mean, it was like Age of Innocence. Have you ever read Age of Innocence? It's so much fun because it's a lot about this. That's why like longer form versions are. I mean, it takes place in a different place and a different time, but it's again I love books about social sort of like that kind of like trying to like figure out a world like a kind of a world of tight social structures. Okay. Sadly, I don't know why, because as we all know, I have a huge problem with social structures and authority. And
as we all know, if it's going to be a witty piece of literature, I'm not going to get it. Until about 2 minutes left of the podcast. Oh my God, Plain, I just realized what just happened. I'm Mr. Darcy. Aren't we all a little bit Mr. Darcy?
Yeah.
I do make $10,000 a year.
You do. All right. Well, I think we've explored Austenland, and yeah.
I'm sorry, unloaded on everybody. Eggplant.
It's a fun movie if you already either know a lot of Austenophiles or are one yourself.
Just prepare yourself as if you were watching Face Off.
Sure.
Please don't take it seriously.
Yeah, don't take it seriously. It's a total romp.
Don't be me. Don't take it seriously.
In fact, I started watching it with Sean, and I said, just before you start watching this, it is just fun. It's a romp, and you have to take it as such. Because I watched the first 15 minutes, and I was like...
Yeah, and that's when he took off his thinking cap and put on his sombrero.
Yep.
And then
pretty much that's what happened. And he watched the entire movie with a sombrero. He did take a nap. He did leave in the middle to take a nap.
And that's what I was afraid of.
Which, I mean, when you're wearing a sombrero, it's nice because you can kind of you can tip it, over your face so that you don't have the light, and you can just listen to, Carrie Russell's delightful voice. Okay.
That is getting hot in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Colleen and I would love to hear from you. Tweet us at HEAMcast or email us at contact@heamcast.com. Thanks for listening.